Eagles open practice date has been announced. We'll share when that's happening. Plus, why are people putting disrespect on two young Eagles? And does Howie Roseman have one more big move left in the tank? Without wasting any more time, let's dive right into it. What's up, y'all, and welcome to 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast powered by Olde City Sports Network, the best network for all your Philadelphia sports needs. This is your host, Michael Roscoe, and before we get into this week's episode, I just want to welcome everybody back. I unexpectedly did not have an episode last week due to a couple of sudden events, but everything is okay, and thank you to my viewers and listeners for tuning back in. So without further ado, let's go ahead and discuss this week's topics. Starting things off, once again, the Eagles will be hosting an annual open practice, and we have a date. Fans can purchase tickets to watch the Eagles open practice taking place at the link on Tuesday, August 25th at 6 p.m. Tickets, I think, are like $10, $15 this year, and a lot of people go to this event. I've gone to this like 2 or 3 times. It's casual yet fun and exciting. Unfortunately, I can't make it to this year's open practice, but get your tickets while you can for this once-in-a-year event. Next topic, Jeffrey Lurie is recognized. So for his work with the Eagles Autism Foundation and the Lurie Autism Institute, Eagles owner and CEO Jeffrey Lurie was named the recipient of the Stuart Scott Inspire Award. He'll be officially recognized for this award during the ESPYs airing next Wednesday, July 15th. The award honors innovators within the sports world who make sacrifices and go above and beyond for various populations in need, such as those impacted by autism spectrum disorder. Lurie absolutely deserves this award for all that he and his family have done and continue to do, including a whopping $50 million donation to the Children's Hospital of Pennsylvania to help establish the Lurie Autism Institute. So congrats to Jeffrey Lurie, and thank you for all the humanitarian work you have done and continue to do on a regular basis. Next topic, we had some disrespect towards our DBs. So it's not surprising to see the level of disrespect various Eagles such as Jalen Hurts, Jalen Carter, and even more recently Saquon Barkley have been getting in the media during this offseason, because people just love to make shit up for content during the offseason for whatever reason. However, we see another level of disrespect to 2 young all-pro caliber defensive backs. So ESPN's Jeremy Fowler came out with this ranking of the top corners in the league going into 2026, and he is doing this with all the positions in the NFL, based upon the opinions of at least 70 coaches, scouts, and executives. On said list, both Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean were outside of the top 5, with Q at number 6 and DeJean at number 10. And before I get into this, I don't want to sound too ungrateful. I am happy that the team has 2 corners within the top 10. I think that's impressive as hell. However, what's baffling as fuck to me is that one of the reasons, if not the main reason, that Quinyon Mitchell was not put in the top 5 is, quote, Mitchell has yet to record his first NFL interception. The greats are paid to get the ball, end quote. So, we're going to forget those 4 total postseason interceptions that Q's made. Also, if interceptions are the primary metric of like a top 5 cornerback, then why the fuck is Trent McDuffie in the top 5 when he has only had 3 regular season and 0 postseason interceptions across 4 years in the league? Mitchell has more cumulative interceptions in half the amount of time. Plus, the number 1 corner on this list, Pat Surtain, he only had 1 interception this past season. So I'm not sure how they're compiling all this information and all these opinions and putting it into a ranking, because if you're basing it solely on, or like very highly valuing the level of interceptions, then this shit makes no fucking sense. I do agree Pat Surtain is like the top 5 corner in the league right now, but to base Quinyon Mitchell's lack of a top 5 presence because of no regular season interceptions when the leader only had 1, Yeah, it's not making too much sense to me. I think at the very least that Q should be above Trent McDuffie. But anyway, speaking of Quignon and Cooper DeJean, this leads me into my next topic. Is Cooper DeJean no longer a corner? So, on Cooper DeJean and Reed Blankenship's Exciting Mike's podcast, they hosted Eagles defensive coordinator Vic Fangio. And during their conversation, he kind of dropped the ball, a bit of a bombshell ball, if you will, in which he basically was like, hopefully Coop's days as a nickel or a corner are over soon. A little ominous, if you will. And I know we've talked in previous episodes about DeJean moving to safety, but that's only in base defense, which is only run about 20% of the time, while the remaining 80% requires him to be at the nickel, where I believe that he fits the best on this defense, and I think that's how the defensive scheme will continue to run, at least for this year. I don't like the idea of DeJean moving to safety full time and then sliding Michael Carter to the slot. I just don't think it's the best combination of players that you can have on the field. Like, I would rather have DeJean remain in the slot and Marcus Epps at the safety opposite Makuba than I would have DeJean and Makuba at the safety tandem with Michael Carter in the slot. Because the first option has a top 10 corner and an established veteran, both playing their typical positions, while the second option has a young, well-rounded player in a completely different position and a depth roster corner who's also looking at being moved to safety. Like, I know Vic Fangio is a GOAT at his job, and, there's reasons behind what he does, and he exhibits a level of confidence in his players. But I think from the organization as a whole, it still feels like that the safety room is the biggest question mark in not only the defense, but for the team as a whole. Which leads me to this week's final topic, is Howie done making moves? Now, we all know Howie Roseman loves to make a deal. I imagine that if he wasn't an NFL GM, he would try to reboot the show Deal or No Deal and be that Howie. He knows, along with many others, that the safety room isn't the most settling group on this roster. Noting this, along with the fact that the majority of the top free agent safeties are already scooped up, I imagine that if Howie has one more move in the tank before the regular season, that will be striking a deal to get a quality safety. Not a superstar one, but at least a quality one, especially for the sake of depth. Names like Taylor Rapp, Grant Delpit, and Deshaun Elliott have been thrown around as potential acquisitions. But then, according to Glenn Irby of the Eagles Wire, the one big move that he believes Howie could make happen would be trading for a star safety such as Budda Baker from the Cardinals. He's one hell of a defensive back. I imagine he would fit well into the Fangio scheme. But when you take his contract, which I think is like $54 million over 3 years until next season, plus the timing of the other potential internal player extensions to come, this makes this move not impossible, but not the most plausible either. However, with Marcus Epps and Andrew Makuba leading the way, along with 20% of Cooper DeJean, Michael Carter, Cole Wisniewski, Andre Sam, and JT Gray, I feel like there's room for improvement here. And I feel like sometime right before or even during training camp, Howie's going to pick up one more of those external veteran safeties that remain available. All right, y'all, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you all for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or follow on YouTube, X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok by searching at 2nd and 15 or by the full name 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast. You can find the audio for each and every single episode releasing Thursday mornings on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Player FM, or wherever you get your podcasts, with the video uploading to YouTube later that same day. This episode, 2nd and 15, and Olde City Sports Network are brought to you by SeatGeek. With the release of single-game Eagles tickets, go ahead and download the app and use promo code Olde City Sports Network, all one word, for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, you can go on to SeatGeek.com or download the SeatGeek app and use our promo code Olde City Sports Network, all one word, for $20 off your next purchase. Once again, thanks y'all for joining in. This is 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast presented by Olde City Sports Network. We will see you all next time. Don't forget to stay fly like an eagle. And as always, go Birds.